ॐ
हरि ओम्।
वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। Namaste once again everyone.
नमस्कारं गुरुजी।
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
Namaskar.
गुरुजी।
Namaste.
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
Namaste. So we are seeing the 12th mantra of the second section, right? 1 to 12. We will chant Parikshya Lokan
परीक्षलोकान्
Karmachitan
चितान्
Brahmanah
ब्राह्मणः
Nirvedamayat
निर्वेदमया
Nasti
नास्ति
Akritah Kritena Tad Vijnanartham
ज्ञानार्थं
Sa Guru Meva Bhigachet
गच्छेत्
Samit Panihi
समित्समनिः
Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam.
श्रोत्रियं ब्रह्मनिष्ठम्।
Good. So Bhashyakara is commenting elaborately on this mantra, which indicates the importance of this mantra has in the entire Vedantic literature. In the first two sentences of the Bhashyam, he has covered only two words of the mantra, namely Pariksha and Loka. And he provides an extensive route map of how one should go about examining the various fields of experiences and draw one's own conclusions about the means and ends. It is not just because Guru has said or Shastra is saying that one should say, okay, that must be true. One should do the examination oneself and convince oneself. That is very important, because unless you do that, that conviction will not come. And as I said in the last class, even though the context of this mantra from a Vedantic standpoint is examination of the field of aparavidya for its efficacy vis-a-vis the goal of moksha. In fact, such an examination needs to be done for reaching any goal in life. As Pujya Swamiji says, this examination is to review the connect between what I want in life, what my life goal is, and what actions I am pursuing to reach that goal. So, this periodic review of the means and ends is very important to keep us on track and also undertake course correction where necessary. So, then the next word in the Moolam is karmachitan, and which is adjective to the word lokan. Now, what is the meaning of karmachitan? Chita means accomplished, attained. Even it has a meaning of collected, earned, gained. So many meanings are there for the word chitta. And in his commentary, Bhashyakara gives two explanations. Let us read the Bhashyam. Avidya kama dosha pravartita karmachitan.
Avidya
Uh,
Kama Karma.
Avidya kama
Avidya Kama.
Avidya kama
dosha pravartita
dosha pravartita
Pravartita
karmachitan
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 dharma dharma
dharma
Dharma
dharma
Dharma
dharma
nirvartitan
nirvartitan
nirvartitam
ityetat
ityetat
Tat
brahmanasyaiva
brahmanasyaiva
Eva
विशेषतः
visheshatah
अधिकारः
adhikarah
Adhikarah
सर्वत्यागेन
sarvatyagena
Yagena
ब्रह्मविद्यायां
brahma vidyayam
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 इति ब्राह्मणग्रहणम्.
iti
Iti
brahmana
Brahmana
grahanam.
grahanam.
So the first point he makes is avidya kama dosha pravartita karmachitan. Accomplished through two types of karma. What are they? Dharma dharma nivartitan ityetat. So the word chitan is equal to nirvartitan. Nirvarta means to accomplish, to attain. So karmachitan means attained through both dharmika karma as well as adharmika karma. The higher lokas are accomplished through dharmika karma. The lower lokas are gained through adharmika karma. So he says dharma dharma nivartitan. And how do these two types of karmas originate in a human being?
Oh,
Some muting is required. So how these two types of karma originate? Bhashyakara says all karmas, whether they are dharmika karma, adharmika karma, are all born of ignorance. And therefore he says avidya kama dosha pravartita. Pravartita means caused by, generated by, produced by. Dosha, defect, which is a defect in all human beings. And what type of defect? Avidya and kama. Avidya means self-ignorance. Kama means desire. And both of them are considered as dosha of a human being, a defect in the human being. And that dosha is the cause of both bad karma as well as good karma. That alone, we have to understand. So, according to Bhashyakara, even good karmas are born out of ignorance. In fact, all these concepts, they are analyzed in a treatise called Naishkarmya Siddhi by Sureshwara Acharya, the disciple of Bhashyakara, where he establishes, elaborately discusses all these things. How ignorance and desire lead to performance of various actions, good actions and bad actions. So, avidya kama dosha pravartita karmachitan ityetat. Ityetat means this is the meaning of the word karmachitan in the moolam. So continuing, next sentence he says, Brahmanasya eva visheshatah adhikarah sarvatyagena brahma vidyayam iti brahmana grahanam. So in the moolam, after the word karmachitan, we have the second quarter of the mantra, Brahmana nirvedamayat. Now the question is what? What is the meaning of the word Brahmana? Because for us a Brahmana means what? All of us are Brahmins, or those who are born to a Brahmin is a Brahmin. That is what is our definition of Brahmana. Of course, we have discussed this word Brahmana. I hope you remember there has been a gap of 1 week. When we discuss the words of the mantra, we have discussed this word Brahmana also. So generally, Brahmana means any Vaidika. Any person who accepts Brahma. Brahma means Veda. Where Vedas have got one more name, Brahma. That's why Brahmachari, when we say Brahmachari is initiation into the path of Vedas, Brahmacharyam. So any person who accepts Veda as the guidebook and lives a life of Karma Yoga as taught by the Veda, all such people are called Vaidikaha. And since the Jati Brahmanas, Jati Kshatriyas, Jati Vaishyas are initiated into Brahmopadesham and have got the sacred thread, and since in the process they accept the Veda, all of them can be called Vaidikas. So there would be a Vaidika Brahmana, Vaidika Kshatriya, and Vaidika Vaishya. And that is why, all of them are called also Dvijaha. Dvijaha literally means twice born. But this term refers to all those who receive the sacred thread, and while receiving the sacred thread, they receive Veda as their guidebook. They are initiated into the Vedas and Vedic way of life. So the sacred thread which they receive is symbolic of accepting Veda as their guidance in life. So now the question will be, if all the Dvijas are included in the Vaidika status, why should the Upanishad particularly refer to Brahmana only? Is it that the Upanishad appears to show partiality to Vaidika Brahmana only? So here Bhashyakara says, the word Brahmana does not refer to Jati Brahmana, that is a Brahmin by birth. Also, it is not talking about Karma Brahmana, a Brahmin by profession. But here, the word Brahmana refers to a Guna Brahmana, a Brahmin by character, a Brahmin by disposition. And what is the definition of Guna Brahmana? A Guna Brahmana is one who is Sattva Guna Pradhana. He is the one who has got a contemplative mind, an inquiring mind. And only such a person alone is fit for Vedanta Vichara. So it does not matter, your birth does not matter. You can be born to any varna, parents of any varna. But if you have that Sattva Guna Pradhanatvam, then you are Guna Brahmana. And this Sattva Gunam requires a non-extrovert, quiet and contemplative mind. And therefore Bhashyakara says Brahmanasya. So here Brahmanasya we have to understand as Guna Brahmanasya, Sattva Guna Pradhanasya. Eva means only. He alone has Visheshatah Adhikaraha, a special qualification or fitness or yogyata. Other people may study Vedanta, but Vedanta will not bless them. Only a Sattva Guna Pradhana can benefit from the study. And therefore he says, Visheshatah Adhikaraha. And by saying that they have got a special right, Bhashyakara says others also do have a right to study. It is not that only these people are eligible or whatever it is. Everybody can study Vedanta. But if they don't have predominance of Sattva Guna, they won't benefit by that study. After some time, Vedanta will be boring for them. They will join the classes with some curiosity. Oh, it is a new animal. I have never known what is Vedanta. Let me join. After some time, if they are not Sattva Guna Pradhana, they will just walk away, leave, stop attending the classes. And therefore, this special right is meant for two things, which Bhashyakara highlights. One is Sarvatyagena, and second, for Brahma Vidya Sarvatyagena. Sarvatyagena means for giving up all karmas, all karma pursuits. So Sarva Karma Tyagena, predominance of Sattva Guna is required. In fact, if you have to drop your karmas, minimize your karmas, shift your focus from Karma Pradhana to Jnana Pradhana spirituality, then Sattva Guna is a very, very important requirement. Sattva Guna means predominance of Sattva Guna. Everybody has got Sattva Guna in some measure or the other. So Sattva Guna, predominance of Sattva Guna is required. Where a Rajasic person cannot renounce karma even after studying Vedanta. Because Rajoguna, that instills action in a person. A Rajoguna Pradhana person will always be active. Sitting quiet is a very tough task for him. In fact, even when he is sitting in the class, for 1 hour class or something, towards the second half of the class, he will start, being uncomfortable because his body wants to do some action. Just sitting is not acceptable to his body. And therefore, the Sattva Guna Pradhana can do Sarva Karma Tyagaha by renouncing karmas, or at least by reducing karmas, reducing his possessions, reducing his obligation towards others, reducing his transactions with the world, becoming non-extrovert. So one has to reduce all these four for a committed pursuit of Vedanta. And this is the meaning of Sarvatyagena, giving up everything. It is not possible to give up everything, overnight. But as you progress in the spiritual path, you must be able to identify, is this going to help me further in my spiritual path? If not, give it up. Many relationships will be like that. In fact, for a grihastha, it is the very sarvatyaga is very difficult. Because the samsara shackles will keep pulling you back. Even if you want to do tyaga, the others will come and, climb on to the baggage. But unless you are able to reduce all these things and eventually give up, eventually give up means when you take total sannyasa, formal sannyasa. But till such time, reduction is possible. Mainly, the moment you reduce your interactions with the world, many of these problems will automatically go away. So, only then a person with predominance of sattva guna will gain the Visheshatah Adhikaraha for Brahma Vidya, for the committed pursuit of Vedanta. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana Adhikaraha iti. So only such a person has the fitness for knowledge of Vedanta. So we should note that the Upanishad uses the word Brahmana for a person who has predominance of Sattva Guna, that is Guna Brahmana. And therefore, Upanishad you cannot say is partial to a particular caste, a particular Varna. And that is why Bhagavan Krishna gives Upadesha to Arjuna, who is a Jati Kshatriya. In fact, if you look at our rishis and sages, Vishwamitra, he was a Jati Kshatriya. But then he became a Brahma Rishi. So, what is important is your character, your guna, not your birth or your karma. And therefore, we cannot say that Upanishad is partial to any particular caste Of course, Upanishad is partial to a particular disposition. Because without that disposition, that knowledge cannot take place. And therefore, Bhashyakara says, Brahmana Grahanam. Here the word Grahanam means employment or usage of the word. Brahmana Shabda Prayoga. So the word Brahmana should be understood in this manner. So the person has done Pariksha Lokan, thoroughly examined all the pros and cons of Aparavidya and its results, etc. And after such examination, what should one do? So Bhashyakara raises the question. Pariksha Lokan Kim Kuryat? What should one do? Iti. If such a question arises in the mind, if such an akanksha arises in the mind, he says Uchyate. The Upanishad itself gives the answer. And what is the answer? Nirvedam ayat. What does it mean? The word pariksha, examination, will lead to a very clear understanding of what is permanent and what is impermanent in the world. The person will gain nitya anitya vastu viveka, which is the first qualification. And once a person has known what is nityam and what is anityam, the natural consequence will be he will turn away from anityam and turn towards nityam. Because this has to be the consequence. And this turning away from anityam is called vairagyam. It is not hatred. There is no dvesham towards anityam. It is just, as I said, losing passion for anitya vastu, outgrowing the need to run behind anitya vastu. So previously, I was proud of all my positions, my fame, my status symbols. I was proud that I was the chairman and CEO of a large conglomerate. I had scores of people around me saying, Sir, sir, sir. Big car, big bangla to live. All relatives will be frequently visiting. Every weekend will be a party in the house. Now that I have retired, nobody bothers for me. Even when I go back to my office, the security guys there, they refuse to allow me into the office premises without an appointment. So now I realize that all these positions, these so-called recognitions, etc., were all impermanent. And this is just an example. And this wisdom dawns on the person once he has done the examination of all his experience. And the result is vairagyam. But does it mean that one needs to retire to develop this vairagyam? The answer is no. Even while you are so-called enjoying all these benefits of high position, people around you, etc., that time itself, if you have the understanding that these are all impermanent, it's all kissa kursika, day will come when this will end. So I should be prepared mentally for that day. I should not get attached to all these things as though they are going to be permanent with me. Nothing is permanent in this world. Once you get that kind of an conviction, then vairagyam automatically follows. You will accept everything which comes to you, but you will not run behind them. So vairagyam is another important qualification. And this vairagyam is called here in the mantra as nirvedam. And therefore the first qualification is viveka, nitya, anitya vastu viveka. From that one should come to vairagyam. And now Bhashyakara gives the grammatical derivation of the word nirvedam. He says nipurvaha vidhi atra vairagyartaha. Vairagyarthe. So nirvedam is derived from the root vid, and there is a prefix nis. So therefore he says ni purvaha means with the prefix nihi. Vidhi means with dhatu, verbal root with. So the derivation of nirvedam is the root with prefix nis. Of course, there are some other grammar rules and all which are applied, will give us the word nirvedam. So nirvedam means to develop dispassion, weakening of passion with regard to worldly things, development of detachment. And therefore he says atra, in this context, this particular root means vairagya arthe, in the meaning of detachment. It is used in the sense of vairagya. So we can, even though Bhashyakara, he takes a lot of liberty with the language. Vairagyarte, he says the sentence is not complete. So we can complete the sentence. Vairagyarte prayujyate is used in the sense of vairagyam. The word nirvedam here in this mantra is used in the sense of vairagyam. Full stop. And Bhashyakara is clarifying this point because it is in this context that we have to take the meaning of vairagya. But in some other context, some other meaning could be taken for the word nirvedam. Because the word nirvedam has also the meanings of disgust, loathing, depression, humiliation, etc. And therefore, when a word has got different meanings, which could have a negative connotation, Bhashyakara steps in to clarify in this context what is the meaning you should take. Because after Karma Yoga, if a person becomes disappointed or dejected and begins to hate the world, begins to dislike life itself, then that is a negative consequence. Vedanta never approves of dejection or frustration. In Vedanta, there is no emotion involved. There is only rational thinking. That is the approach of Vedanta. And Vairagyam is a healthy redirection of the mind. In Vedanta, Vairagyam is a virtue, it's a healthy attitude. that I am no longer going to go in search of anitya vastu. I don't mind window shopping. I will enjoy all things which are on display. I will admire them, but I am not interested in them. I don't want them. Then if someone asks, what are you interested in ultimately? Tad vijnanartam sa gurumeva abhigachet. Therefore, vairagyam is a healthy reorientation of the mind. And that is why Bhashyakara takes the trouble of pointing out that in this context, vairagyam does not have negative connotation. It is a healthy detachment. Because generally, in Laukika terms, vairagyam, many people use it in a negative sense. So here, Bhashyakara says, when you come to spirituality, all these use words which you have been using earlier loosely, you must be able to understand what the real connotation of those words are. So vairagyam is a healthy detachment, and this vairagyam ayat is there in the moolam. Bhashyakara says ayat means kuryadi ityetat. So here ayat means kuryat. Kuryat means what? Kuryat means one should come to, one should develop. What does that mean? Well, this is also important. In the word kuryat, there is a sense of imperative, a compulsion, a commandment is there. In grammar, it is called vidilinga lakara. Therefore, we should not take vairagyam as a natural consequence of viveka. We have to make sure that viveka leads to vairagyam. Otherwise, what will happen? A person will go on examining endlessly. The examination will become permanent, nitya vastu, without leading to vairagyam. So these are all, the thought process, or the mind should be able to clearly go down this route. First, examine everything in the world. Is this permanent, impermanent? Permanent, impermanent. Two columns. List everything. You will have to take impermanent only for all. Is my relationship permanent, impermanent, impermanent? My parents permanent, impermanent, impermanent. My children are permanent, impermanent, impermanent. What about all my possessions? Impermanent. What about my body, mind, sense complex? Impermanent. So once you say it's all impermanent, 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 what am I looking for in my life? I am looking for something which is permanent, which does not leave me and go away. So I don't hate the impermanent things. I know that for a worldly life, since I am a part of this entire prapancha, this entire world, I have to be part of it. But I am not going to get emotionally attached to all these things. So this thought process from viveka, it should lead to vairagyam. It is not automatic. That is what Bhashyakara is emphasizing. So therefore, Bhashyakara says that one has to make sure that Viveka leads to Vairagyam. Only then one can turn away from worldly pursuit. Only then one will find time for Vedanta. Otherwise, there will be no time. The person will either be busy with all Vaidika karmas or Laukika karmas, or even if he is doing no karma, sitting before the TV and watching all these programs. That is also one sort of karma only. So if that person is doing all that, Vedanta will never happen. And therefore, not only one should do pariksha of Nitya Anitya, one the conclusion of that pariksha should also be a conscious decision. One should make sure that one comes to Vairagya. So Vairagyam ayat kuryat ityetat. Then he says, Saha Vairagya prakaraha pradarsyate. Prakaraha means mode of thinking, the type of thought pattern in the mind of that detached person. Pradarsyate means is shown. He says the Upanishad itself is showing the thought pattern of that person who has got Vairagya. As I said, it is a healthy detachment, no frustration, no disappointment, no dejection, no bitterness. One should not say, oh, I'm not, my children earlier, they were calling me every week. Now, once in 6 months only they call. No disappointment. It's fine. There's no bitterness. So, one has to go beyond both attachment and hatred. So, detachment is what? Growing out of both attraction and aversion. There is no disliking also. And there is no special liking also. That is healthy detachment. And he says, Upanishad itself is disclosing this. And how it does it do? It says, Nasti akritah kritena. Now, here, this sentence can be interpreted in two ways. One interpretation is the direct and explicit interpretation, which generally all acharyas give. And we have discussed that interpretation while discussing the words of the mantra. There we saw that the word kritaha means that which is produced, that which is a product of karma. And we know that any product is within the time and space paradigm and therefore impermanent and therefore limited. So the aspect of limitlessness will not be there in any result of karma. And akrita means what? Non-product. That which is not produced. That which exists. And that which is beyond time and space. So akrita implies nityam. Nityam means permanent. And that which represents limitlessness. And therefore, what is moksha? Akritaha means nitya, nitya means permanent. That permanent which represents limitlessness. Therefore, nasti akrita kritena means you cannot expect limitlessness from that which is a product of karma. Karmana kritena vastuni akritaha nasti. So the Upanishad wants to warn us that limitlessness or fullness or purnatvam is not possible in any product which is a result of karma. So this was the explicit and easy interpretation which we had seen earlier, even while discussing the words of the mantra. But Bhashyakara doesn't give that interpretation. And for that there is a reason. Because when you take the explicit meaning, it is only a statement of fact. In stating that Nitya Moksha is not possible through karma, cannot bring in Vairagyam automatically. It is just a plain statement of fact. Vairagyam is not explicit or not clear in that statement. And therefore, to bring out Vairagyam in that statement, Bhashyakara divides that statement into two sentences. He divides Nasti Akritah Kritena into two sentences and brings out detachment, the thinking of detachment in the examination. And how does he do that? He says, Iha samsare nasti kaschidapi akritah padartah सर्व एव ही लोका है कर्मचिता है कर्म कृतत्वात् च अनित्या है न नित्यम किंचित अस्ति इत्यभिप्राय है. So instead of taking kritena akritah nasti kritena, though through karma moksha is not possible in the explicit meaning, Bhashyakara separates the word kritena and he takes only one sentence. Iha samsare, in this universe, akritah padartah nasti. He does not specifically say karmana, but we can supply karmana. So in this verse, in this universe, there is nothing other than karma phalam. So kritah we can interpret as karma phalam. Akritah means other than karma phalam. Nasti means there is nothing other than karma phalam. So he uses double negative. So there is nothing other than karma phalam means what? Everything in this creation is karma phalam. All the lokas are karma phalam. Our own body is karma phalam. So upadi vishaya hai, loka hai. The various gadgets that we possess are all karma phalam. Environment in which we live is karma phalam. So this list is endless. So sarvam karma phalam. Everything that we come across, that we experience in this world is all karma phalam. And this is what this person discovers, that everything is karma phalam. And therefore, how should you look upon your possessions, your house, your car, your job, your family members, etc.? You have to accept either it is good karma phalam or bad karma phalam. Isn't it? Let us not get into that. And it is for each person to evaluate for themselves. So our friends karma phalam, good friends are good karma phalam, guru karma phalam, shishya karma phalam. You are all sitting and listening to my talk is your karma phalam. And I am giving you this talk on Upanishad is my karma phalam. So the first discovery is sarvam karma phalam. And since he has experienced the consequences, he has found all of them are anityam. And therefore he comes to the conclusion Tasmat sarvam anityam. So akritaha nasti is equal to sarvam karma phalam, and sarvam karma phalam is equal to sarvam anityam. This is the conclusion he comes to. So from that, what is the corollary? Sarvam dukkha hetuhu eva. All of them being anityam, impermanent, is the cause of dukkham. How do we say anityam is cause of dukkham? Anityam is that which comes and goes. And if it gives happiness during arrival, what happens when it goes? You can yourself figure it out. We all enjoy, celebrate the birth of a person, isn't it? What happens when that body goes? Of course, you may argue that not everything causes sorrow when it goes. Because sometimes going is the cause for happiness also. But if that is the case, then coming or arrival will be the cause of dukkham. So, like sickness, if it gives happiness during departure, it will give unhappiness during arrival. Well, as they say, some people give happiness wherever they go. Some others give happiness whenever they go. So, the people who give happiness whenever they go, when they come, they will give unhappiness. Therefore, any anityam will give unhappiness either now or later. This is the discovery, and therefore, this person is not interested in any karma phalam, because karma phalam is equal to anityam, and anityam is equal to samsara karanam, dukkham. And if he is not interested in karma phalam, why should he be interested in karma? I have no interest in karma, because karma will last as long as I am interested in karma phalam. I am doing karma for what? For the benefit of karma. And therefore, once I am not interested in karma phalam, I don't have an interest in karma. Therefore, nasti akritaha should be interpreted to arrive at this meaning. What is the meaning? Everything in the world is karma phalam. Therefore, everything in the world is anityam. Therefore, everything in the world is samsara karanam. And therefore, I am not interested in any karma phalam at all. And therefore, I am not interested in karma. Because only when I am interested in karma, in sadhyam, I should be interested in the sadhana. So when karma phala sadhya ichha nasti, tad sadhane karmani api ichha nasti. Now where does all this leave us? It leads us to prepare for the shift from karma kandam to jnana kandam. Therefore, atato brahma jignasa. And this Bhashyakara expresses brilliantly in this sentence. He says, Iha sansare, in this entire universe, nasti, there is nothing, akritaha, other than karma phalam. Kritaha means karma phalam. So akritaha means other than karma phalam. As I said, double negative. Therefore, everything is karma phalam only. Even if you go to Swargaloka or even Brahmaloka, even if you get the position of Indravata, in Indra Devata, and Airavatam as your prestigious possession, or you have the company of Ramba, Urvashi, etc., you revel in their dance performances, but they are all what? They are all karma phalam only. So he says, Kaschidapi akritah padartah nasti. And therefore what? Sarva eva hi lokaha karmachitaha. All the 14 lokas, including the possessions there, including the body that we possess, all of them are karmachitaha. They are all karma phala bhutaha. Karmachitaha means karma phala bhutaha. Okay, so what? Karma kritatvat cha anityaha. Being the result of karma, they have a date of manufacture, and whenever there is a date of manufacture is there, just below will be printed expiry date also. Therefore, all karma phalam is anityam. Okay, understood. Everything is anityam. Now the question would be, would there be anything in this world which is nityam? Because from our experience, we know that every rule has got one or two exceptions. So obviously, we will ask, in this case also, is there an exception? Bhashyakara is categorical in his statement. He says, Na nityam kinchit astu ityabhiprayah. Na nityam kinchit asti ityabhiprayah. Kinchit nityam na asti. In the entire drishya prapancha, the entire anatma prapancha, in this entire kriya karaka phala prapancha, kinchit nityam na asti. There is nothing which is nityam, permanent, eternal. Ityabhiprayah. This is the intention of the Shruti statement. And therefore the conclusion is Sarvam tu karma anityasya eva sadhanam. Yasmat chaturvidham eva hi sarvam karma karyam utpadhyam apyam samskaryam vikaryam va. Natav param karmano visesho asti. So here Bhashyakara explains the nature of karma, its composition, the nature of its results. So first he says that the pariksha or examination of experiences should make us wiser that the result of any action, any karma, whether laukika or vaidika, is anityam, impermanent and limited. So first I should see everything is karma phalam and everything is anityam. Whereas my goal in life is what? Moksha hai, which is nityam, which is permanent, which is eternal. And therefore, what should be the logical conclusion? Karma phalam will not lead to my goal. First conclusion. Then I turn my attention to the nature of karma itself. And I see the limitation of karma. That any karma I do, sacred or secular, it is going to lead to samsara only. So I should again be able to conclude that any amount of karma I do, it is not going to rid me of samsara. So karma phalam is anityam and karma is samsara karanam. That is what he says, sarvam tu karma anityasya eva sadhanam. So all karma, sacred or secular, which includes upasana also, is a means of taking me to anitya samsara only. Now, why do we say all karmas are anityasya eva sadhanam? He says yasmat, since, because on close scrutiny we can find out that all karma phalam will come under four categories. Chaturvidhameva hi sarva karma karyam. Utpadhyam, apyam, samskaryam, vikaryam va. It's time. We'll continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you all very much.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
ಗುರುಜಿ.
Thank you very much,
Namaskaram.
Guruji.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram,
Thank
Guruji.
you very much, Guruji. Namaste. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you very
Namaskara.
much.
Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Guruji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Guruji, how's
Guruji.
your health now?
Thank
Sorry.
you.
Guruji, how's your health now?
Getting better. Still, as a 1 hour of talk, feeling exhausted. But it will take a little more time, maybe week, 10 days. I have to slowly started getting back into the routine. But body is requiring a lot of rest. So whenever
You
I
look
get,
tired, Guruji.
huh?
You look tired, Guruji.
Yeah, tired. That's why the fatigue is there. But then just because fatigue, how long can you just be lying down, So, because
Yeah.
we have to perform our responsibilities also. We are still in this samsara. So from that angle, whatever Vedanta is there, that's all very good. But day to day, we have to manage. So it's okay. I mean, I am much, much better than what I was last week, in fact. Last week, though, in fact, one whole day I've only slept. I mean, I couldn't even get up from the bed. Compared to
Oh.
that, now, today, things are much, much better. So slowly it will happen. Will improve. Unless some other accident takes place, something else comes up. It's all question of, prarabdha karmas. That's all. I mean, it's all. The way I look at it is, the more this body suffers, the more papa karmas are being exhausted.
Yes.
So that way, the punya karma is now increasing in its in the balance. So that is how we have to take it. Yeah, and fortunately, it is not something that I need to be hospitalized or things like that and all. Touch wood. But the point is, okay, you get some sickness, take medicine, get better, get back to your routine. That is going on. Only thing which I have discovered is that I should actually cut down a lot on my travels. Rather, I've been last 2 3 years extensive traveling I've been doing, which is not very suitable for my age and my disposition. Whereas outside you go, water is different, food you don't get the kind of food that you want. You compromise and then eat whatever you get, and that itself creates a lot of problem. So that is another lesson. Minimize your travel, only just unavoidable travel undertake. That's all. All these things we keep learning. Anyhow,
Take care, Guruji. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Our prayers for you.
thank you. Hari Om. Hari Om.
Namaskar. Hari Om. Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Thank
Yes,
you, Guruji. Take
thank you.
care.
Thank you. Thank you. Suleka ji, your hands are gone up.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Thank you for today's class and best wishes for a speedy recovery.
Thank you.
My question today is, you talked about everything in this prapancha, everything being anityam. What about that which is within us, that Atman, that Brahman that is within us? It can't sit somewhere else because everything is in one. How can we reconcile or contemplate that there is something within us that is nityam? And how can we reconcile it with that statement that everything here is anityam?
Very simple. Disidentify yourself with your body, mind, sense complex and identify yourself with that Atma or Brahman. Then you become Nityam. Understand that everything in this world cannot exist with that Brahman, without that Brahman. Brahman is inherent in everything because Nityatvam is there in Anityam. The Upadhi, the shell is Anityam. Whereas the essence, inner essence is Nityam. So you have to understand that what should you go behind? Should you go behind the shell, the Anitya objects, or the Nitya which is there inherent in everything? Understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
So
I
that is
understand.
what is Nityam. That Upanishad will say. I mean, we are only in the second section. As we go forward, all these things will come. What is
Yes.
Nityam? Now, how we should actually associate with the Nityam and develop Vairagyam for Anityam, etc. All this will come.
Thank you, Guruji. I appreciate that. And it's very clear that what you're saying, it's also something now in the satsanga that you've said to be contemplated. So thank you.
Simple process, disidentification. That's all.
Yes.
Guruji,
Because
Yeah.
you can disidentify yourself with everything else in the world, but not with your own body, mind, sense complex. That is the
Right.
most difficult.
Right. Right.
The
No, I think
whole focus of the Upanishad is to do that only.
right. Right. Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Namaste. Namaskaram. Hari Om.
Yes, Srikanji.
Guruji, just wanted to comment here. Idam sarvam, it means here everything.
Yes.
So it has to be an object.
Yes.
Because it's an object, it is anityam.
Yes.
The subject is nityam.
Subject.
That's how.
Yes, that's how another way of understanding it. Yeah.
Okay,
I am
thank
the
you, Guruji.
subject. I am Nityam. But my body's mind sense complex is an object. That is Anityam. That is how you have to understand. Yeah. Finally, that will what the Upanishad will reveal. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you. So, any more questions? Otherwise, we'll close the class and continue next week. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om. Hari Om. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.